Our left side carburetor has been disassembled and tanked. It is now considerably clean compared to what it looked like before, which was very much like the right side carburetor. Just basically very grungy. So now comes the time to assemble this. One thing people frequently forget about in the float bowl is this small orifice on the bottom. This is the choke circuit. Pulls fuel from the bottom up this tube here into the choke. There is a tiny little jet that resides in this chamber in the float bowl. You need to remove that jet, make sure it's clear, and that this chamber is clear, and you can blow through it with a blowgun, and you get air coming out of this lower hole, or the opposite way. So now that I've verified that this jet is clear, we can put this jet back in the bowl. It's snug, don't go nutty over tightening it. Doesn't take much. Okay, we can start with our atomizer. The top part with the holes does not go up top in here in the carb, obviously. It's going to fit this way. This main jet is beveled, that fits. That way. This can go in. Again, just verify that there's nothing plugging any of these orifices, and that's the way this should look. The atomizer will stick up a little bit, the jet should not. So, snug this down. Again, you don't have to reef it, it's got an O-ring. It's not going to fall out unless you leave it completely loose. This is our air screw, which has a spring on it. This goes external part of the carb. And before we disassemble this, you turn the screw in all the way, counting your turns. It was 3/4 of a turn for this particular carb. So you're now bottomed out without over torquing it. About half a turn and 1/4, and that's back to where it was when we disassembled this. This is a screw with a little fiber washer that goes over the vacuum port. That together, and now we are looking for the pilot jet, which is clear. There isn't a whole lot to these carbs. This gets tightened down all the way. The important thing with these carbs is to make sure they're clean. And that the seals and everything are in good shape. You see this little tiny baling wire on the end of this float needle jet. It slides over this little tongue on the float. So it hangs like that. It sets down into there. One side of this pin is knurled. So push the other side through and Just give it a little tap until the knurled section of the pin is inside the housing. This pin can't fall out. It's kind of pointless to even have it knurled because the way the float bowl fits prevents it from falling apart. This section is done. I need a float bowl gasket, which I will grab in a moment. So let's move over to the choke area. If the choke gasket isn't torn, it's certainly reusable. We're going to do that here. You'll see now that this is clean. Turn it. Each position is clean. It's usually, the way I clean these, it's not necessary to disassemble this whole choke assembly. Set that on there. I like to put a little bit of copper anti-seize on these threads. These do end up corroding, and the last thing you want is to be out in East Bumfuck with a carb problem and have screw heads that strip out because the screws have corroded into the carb body. So use a copper anti-seize and save the customer a whole lot of freaking aggravation down the road. And when the bike comes back to your own shop, saves you some aggravation later, and the customer a little bit of money. Reduced labor. And tighten these equally and gradually. Okay. It's now good. Take a paper towel, wipe that area down. Our next step is going to be our carb slide and diaphragm. Pretty simple on these. This little groove fits into this groove here. There's also one on the inside of the diaphragm where it seats into here, so it's almost impossible to screw up. If this diaphragm doesn't seat into this ridge very well, you can certainly apply some wheel bearing grease, Vaseline, etc. And I love this shit. It's fucking 9:35 at night and the fucking phone still rings. It's insane. Next goes the spring. And then the top.
Unfortunately, I'm unable to take a call at the moment. Please leave a message.
And we had one oddball screw in the top of this carb, so I'm only going to put one in right now. Go dig in my spares box and get a replacement screw. So that is tightened down. This spring hooks to the choke. And there we have it. One cleaned assembled carb. And here's one new float bowl gasket. Important to make sure this fits in the ridge here like it should. This previous one was caught on the edge. It was rolled over and torn. It's part of the leaking problem, but these floats were definitely, float needle had some shit on it too. And that takes care of this carb, and we have no spare parts left besides worn out gasket and one bolt which is far too long. both of which I'm going to replace. So now we can disassemble the right carburetor. After I get some gloves.